I'm really here to give an update on what's been transpiring as the county bikeway project. As you know, it is terminating. As you know, the project terminus currently is in the Arroyo Seco within the Montecito Rec Center. Can you hear me? Montecito Heights Rec Center. So that's where it ends now, and it naturally comes out of the river, and then it runs alongside the far edge here of Montecito Heights Rec Center to the parking lot. And from there, it basically ends as a bikeway. And then they're on the street. And for the city, we have the Sharon Lane on Mosher. But the concept was that it would continue and eventually connect with the confluence. That was the theory. Over the years, it's gone through many different configurations. The last one, when we came into office in July 2013, this project landed back on my desk again, something I dealt with back in 2001. And I looked at it and said, where is it now? And the last I heard was that, and I brought in the county to discuss it, the supervisor's office is still in support of moving the project forward. The last configuration that was conceptualized was to go from Avenue 26, so it would not connect from where it is now, but to go from Avenue 26 to the confluence, to the Los Angeles, be able to connect that San Fernando Road and Riverside Drive Bridge to the Los Angeles River multi-use bikeway on the west side of the river. So that was the theory. Again, a lot of money was spent apparently on design, and in the course of that time period, we also required that Caltrans was going to be a partner on this. Caltrans had funding for it, then Caltrans lost the funding. And it was going to go adjacent in order to get, I mean, those of you who know the area, which I know you do know very well, it was meant to go along Caltrans property from Avenue 26, city's property, the backside of the Gold Line parking lot. That's at the Avenue 26 station, and then under the freeway, and then to connect to San Fernando Road there. And alongside the city's Bureau of Sanitation central yard on San Fernando Road. But then the funding was lost, and that's where it ended. When we came into office in July 2013, the supervisor's office contacted us again, and then we started dialogue again in 2013. In November of 2013, I asked our city departments, particularly the Department of Transportation, because those of you who know this area very well, getting across Avenue 43, take your life in your hand, just to get across the road, because we have on and off exits for Avenue 43 on the Arroyo Seco Parkway. So that was first and foremost. How do we get people across the road? Asking our Department of Transportation to look in there, what type of signals, kind of activation. Those of you who may remember back in 2011, 2012, the Arroyo Seco Parkway study. You remember that one in terms of the partnership? In there were several plans and concepts, and in there, Caltrans had agreed to do reconfigurations of Avenue 43 exit to make it safe. So there were inquiries made to Caltrans as to what's the status of that before we start going in there. And the status of that is in that study document, but nothing's happening with it until there's funding.
Okay.
Does that sound familiar? Nonetheless, don't want to give up, because we have several things in the plans in the makings here. The Arroyo Seco feasibility study that the Corps of Army Engineers is going to be commencing.
Who is we?
And we, I'm talking about the general public, but in this case, we being the community, the city, the county, the state, all the entities that are involved, the
Army?
money.
The Army?
Army Corps of Engineers is doing the study together with the county's public works, oversight of the coalition of the Arroyo Seco organizations that have been working very collaboratively. The Arroyo Seco Foundation has been very active in this. The city families in terms of our Bureau of Sanitation, our Los Angeles River folks, the Board of Public Works, all of them have been working collaboratively. up and down, because the Arroyo Seco runs from the foothills. So we're going from up there, so we have cities of Pasadena in particular, and the cities of South Pasadena that are actively involved in this. As they move forward, again, funding becomes the issue, and a lot of bureaucracy. So we just add all the levels of bureaucracy, because you have federal, you have state, you have county, you have quasi-jurisdictions, you have municipal jurisdictions.
You said that they're soon to commence. Do you have an idea?
No, I didn't say soon to commence.
Or
I wish I could say they were soon to commence. Oh, in terms of the feasibility study?
Yes, right.
Oh, okay. So you meant the bike one.
No, feasibility study by the Army Corps.
By the Army Corps of Engineering is back on track. Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm thinking October.
Last I heard, by the end of this year, they should have their initial project list. I'm still a little uncertain about that. We were getting mixed messages, but I would expect by the end of a year, we should have a better idea of what they're looking at. You can also find, and we have it on, my name is Scott Sharon with the Arroyo Seco Foundation, and here locally as well. We have their documents to date on our website, arroyoseco.org. Talk to me if you'd like more information. I can link you to those, which give you a good overview of the scope of the project and the areas they're looking at for that. But by the end of this year, we should have something more concrete.
However, just for purposes of community, am I not correct that there are 2 community workshops, one that's going to be held in Pasadena, and then one that you will be holding as well?
Right, so we're just about to really launch this publicly. We are going to organize, okay, so I guess I'll make a little announcement thing.
If it all ties together, it'd be helpful.
Arroyo Seco Foundation. So we are going to be holding a couple of community engagement workshops. This is a concept that we're putting together called the Arroyo River Parks. We're really looking at the ways we can integrate the parks that currently exist along the Arroyo Seco with the core study and other uses that people are looking at for these areas. We're going to host a couple of workshops. I believe the dates off the top of my head are Saturday, October 25th and Saturday, November 8th. The first one will be, the October one will be here in Highland Park at the Arroyo Seco Branch Library. The second one will be in Pasadena at La Caseta del Arroyo on Arroyo Boulevard. Again, the Arroyo Seco Foundation has more information about this on our website, www.arroyoseco.org. I can provide you with more information. We should be posting official announcements, flyers, and social media blasts within the next couple of business days.
It's really important for folks to participate in this, because that's the input. When we say we, who needs to have that input? All those public entities that are making decisions to get that input on what projects you would like to see incorporated.
Right, and yeah, and one thing more to say to that is we saw with the Los Angeles River Corps study, the Arbor study, that the Corps recently recommended the most ambitious alternative on. Support from local sponsors, support from grassroots stakeholders was very key to getting that package, the alternative 20. And so what we're trying to do is build greater community support here within the Arroyo Seco communities for that, so we can get that same kind of support from the Corps in our study as well. So far we've been doing very well. We've had a lot of participation from local government. The Los Angeles County is the lead local sponsor, the city governments are sponsors as well, and we're looking to really strengthen that, especially at the grassroots level, get more public participation in this, because as I said, we're looking at getting some more concrete project lists soon, very soon, and we want to make sure that the public's interest is represented in that process.
What happened to the money for the Figueroa bike-lane study? Is that being transferred over, or is that already spent? Are we studying going?
That's a completely different project.
There's new money coming into this.
This is a U.S. Army Corps of Engineers ecosystem restoration feasibility study. If you're familiar with the Los Angeles River Restoration Study, it's the exact same program. It's the same process. The Figueroa bike lane money is.
Scott, we're not talking about Figueroa bike lane stuff.
Okay, I'm just clarifying.
I'm asking about the money. I'm asking about what happened.
That's not on the agenda. We're talking about
We can only talk about things that are on our agenda, and we also have a system that we have to kind of follow with the public, with the cards.
recommence dialogue again into the 12th or 14th year, whatever year we're at, on this project. And we first and foremost wanted to address the safe crossing at Avenue 43, the connectivity for both bicycle, as a bicycle trail, as a multi-use trail, bicycles and pedestrian trail, to connect to Pasadena Avenue and to the Gold Line station there. And then in the course of this, one of the things I've been focused on is trying to looking at the city's surplus properties within the city. And surprisingly, we have a significant number of surplus properties immediately adjacent to the Arroyo Seco. So it could be that connection. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Gauntlet, which is a hazardous pedestrian overpass over the Arroyo Seco Parkway that our students, our children have to cross every day to get from this side to school over in the middle school over at Nightingale. And it's a very hazardous walk. And that was another project that is identified in the Arroyo Seco Parkway study. And we'd like to get that done. So these are things to how we're connecting and looking at what all the projects are for pedestrian safety, bicyclist safety, to activate this area and get our students, our residents, both from a recreational, for multiple users, whether you be a commuter, you just want to be out there for recreational purposes, but on a daily basis, our children have to go across that gauntlet to get to school. So that connectivity, we're looking at that. I don't know how many of you know that when the Gold Line was constructed, the county actually paid to have a tunnel that goes under the Gold Line adjacent to the Arroyo Seco. It was done with an anticipation that this bikeway would actually go that way, get under there and connect. So that tunnel is built. It's there.
Yeah.
It goes under the Gold Line as it goes over the freeway. So right there adjacent to, as you're on the other side of Pasadena Avenue, those of you who may be familiar with what we call the Welch's side, it's a very big open space that's really toxic. But it's a huge vacant piece of land. So amazing what kind of open space we have here in the city. It's an open space area, but it's very toxic. But we own land adjacent to it that's wide enough, significant enough for a pedestrian and a bicyclist trail. So we like to have that connection. So that's one of the things we've been looking at, making that connectivity. And so the city owns, meaning Recreation and Park, owns the property, the Loomis Home parcels across the street on Avenue 43, owns the parcels all along Homer as it goes to Heritage Square, all of Heritage Square, which is City Recreation and Parks, that goes exits out on Pasadena Avenue. So that was a concept back in 2001 to go that way. And we're back at that concept because it makes the most sense. It makes the most sense when you're on city property. It makes the most sense because it's recreational space. It makes the most sense because we have the river feasibility study coming through. We can have parkways and greening. It makes the most sense because we have children on the other side on Pasadena Avenue, those low-income families, who need to have park space. And they have to have a safe way, not only to get here to Montecito Heights Recreation Center, but it'd be nice if we can activate that other side of what's Heritage Square land right now that is recreation and park land, but under a lease agreement. So we're looking at all of that. In addition, the city has obtained funding for pedestrian and transit improvements along Pasadena Avenue. So one of the things is to ensure that we have a safe crossing. We just talked about safe crossing across Avenue 43. Now many of you know what Pasadena Avenue looks like. So we need a safe crossing across Pasadena Avenue. So we're looking at a signalized intersection at Carlotta, and also where the exit and entry to the parking lot of the Heritage Square Gold Line Station.
Forgetting.
But that's the connection of you asked me for an update, that's all part of the Arroyo Seco bikeway.
It is?
Yes,
Is
it
the bikeway in lieu of the Figueroa bike lanes, or is it?
This is a county project. It's a county, I'm only giving an
separate?
update on the county project that we are now entering, trying to assist them
So
in
what
moving
is
it
that
forward.
connected?
It's a totally, they're totally They're not connected.
They're not connected.
They are not connected at all.
One does not take away from the other.
One does not, in fact, they complement, okay? Within whatever, we have sharrows, bike lanes, bike routes, all through the Northeast, should each complement and connect together, one way or the other, whether you agree or disagree, but that's what we're looking at this project as part of a larger project of the comprehensive route of bicyclists and pedestrian trails, whether it be route, lane, sharrows, whichever way, but also we're looking to make sure that our children, in particular, our residents, have the opportunity to have a healthy living environment. So that's what we're looking at, and we want them to do it safely. So we're looking at the crossings and how to connect and connectivity. So with this discussion, we did a site visit at the Heritage Square back in August. I brought in the city departments, who talked to each other, our recreation and parks, talked to our Department of Transportation, talked to the other public works department bureaus, talked to the county, so we can work collaboratively to do this. And so we are moving forward as a concept. The most important update is, out of all that funding that was available, even though allotments have been spent and now those plans are thrown to the side, that they still have a little over $350,000 for construction costs.
And where is this money coming from?
These are county dollars. So as I said, I can't emphasize, it's a county project. And the city is only assisting, we're facilitating in terms of a route that will go across city land.
So
So
what is the
where we
city
can
council
go on
office?
city parcels to facilitate, we will do that. And we want to make sure, as I said, some of the issues concerned, the Heritage Square is a unique treasure within the Northeast Los Angeles community. It is to be preserved. And so it's how we go around, how do we connect, and we promote this treasure and get more folks to know it's there, but also recognize that we're not looking for a bikeway that goes through it. We're looking for a bikeway that connects to it and actually goes around it and then comes out on the other side. So we're looking at how to do that. Engineers are looking at that, what's the best way, and that will be a county project. So that's one of the reasons why we did the site visit. We're looking at obstacles, physical conditions, and how to move forward. And the way it's moving forward, because the county wants to keep this project alive, is that the supervisor is allocating an additional $300,000 for continued design and for the engineering work, preliminary and engineering work that needs to be done to keep the project alive, so that they can go after additional funding under the different sources that would be available to them. One being whatever comes as a project within the Arroyo Seco project or the Arroyo Seco feasibility study, but also there's the ATP, there's also trails grants that they'll be looking at. So this is why we wanted to come, that's for an update, that's where it is, that's where we are right now.
Okay, now, let's talk about the so-called alternate bike lanes.
You asked me, when you sent me an email, you said that there was an unsubstantiated
That's
rumor.
right.
And you're right.
You're okay. There's no plans.
There are no plans. What it is along Marmion Way, it's a very, very preliminary plan. And it's in response to constituent concerns that our office has received. Personal observations of being out there physically driving on there, watching numerous bicyclists that do utilize it, but also pedestrians who walk along the trail, especially from where Monte Vista turns into Marmion Way. Having done the gold mine construction, I'm very familiar with that area. Unfortunately, I felt very strongly I wanted to buy, many of you know there's a piece of property adjacent to the gold mine, not where you have the cliff, right? You have that cliff on one side, the other side you have this vacant land, and to the east, that's right adjacent to the gold mine, and it drops down. And I really wanted to buy it back then. And the sad thing is, we did not buy it, because at that time, it was owned by a family trust, and I learned that it probably sold for like 150 or 300,000. You know, and so what is it going to sell for now? But that's essential. I know that a lot of residents walk there, along there, and it would be a perfect opportunity to, because as you well know, there is no parking for the Southwest Museum Station. It's on Marmion Way, and it's only a short stretch. There's an opportunity, I'm looking for exploring the feasibility, so it's just very preliminary. And then you also have the opportunity for it to be a park, so a mixed use with parking that could be hidden more to go with the terrain of the topography of the land, which drops down. So that what you see from the street primarily will be green space. So that's, like I said, a very preliminary concept, but I know that residents walk. I've watched them walk, I walk their dogs, I've watched bicyclists go there, you can't do anything on the other side because you have a cliff that's drops. And then folks have also, constituents complaints have come in about lighting, the lack of lighting along there. And we can't put lighting on that because we don't own the property, it's unimproved. Lighting on this side where we have the sheer drop is attached to utility poles. And so what are some of the conditions? We can look at this to, keep it as a green space that's visually and active because the community's already utilizing it and have that pathway, but have a multiple use. So that's what I said, it's only a very preliminary concept. Also, identification of funding sources is very key. So I'm talking to the Department of Transportation of our special parking revenue fund, how do we do that? Looking at what its eligibility is under our active transportation program funding in the future. So it's very preliminary. And looking at what the hazards are along Marmion Way, the other thing that we've gotten requests for is obviously speeding. I looked at, knowing the configuration of Marmion Way, you have a signal at Avenue 45 and a signal at Figueroa. And then you only have a stop sign at Museum Drive, and that's it. And so when we have bus stops, 2 bus stops, I believe one's at Avenue 43, and the other one is at Avenue 41 or 39, somewhere around.
Are you talking about dedicated biking?
No, I'm not running to that. We didn't mention about dedicated biking at all. I mentioned an acquisition of a parcel on the other side that would provide a mixed use, a bike path. And it could be, that's what I said, everything is very preliminary in concept, and a lot will come out of community discussions. It becomes a priority as community identified, but this has only come out of conceptual preliminary in response to issues of concern. So high speeds, we know bicyclists use it, we know the conflict, we know there's lighting issues, dark issues, period issues. So looking at it comprehensively. And it could be a trail, it could be a bike trail, it could be a cycle track, it could be just, in DG. But, that's something that has not been fully developed at all because it was just a preliminary concept to explore. And that's all it is.
Okay.
Okay?
So, I want to make this really solid. No plans for alternate bicycle infrastructure on Mona Vista or Marmion Way, other than maybe acquiring land, maybe a bike path.
Preliminary concept.
What's your definition of a bike path?
I was told there's a bike trail, there's a bike path, and there's a bike road. So,
Okay, California's class 1, class 2, class 3, class 2.
no, as I said, it's very preliminary and it can be determined by community input.
Okay, when will it be?
As I said, it is not, you asked me was it an unconfirmed rumor? And it's been unsubstantiated. It basically is just nothing but a preliminary concept. Very, very rough and exploratory.
What is it?
The concept is looking for ways to explore and respond to concerns and looking at the uses that the community is currently using. And we know that Marmion Way is used as a speedway. We know that Marmion Way is walked by pedestrians who just want to go out for a walk in the evening, during the day, with their dogs, on their own, with their children. And no, and on one side you have a sheer drop, on the other side you have this dirt area that you're utilizing now, which isn't lit.
That's speculation, that's not a official study.
Correct, it's, I made it very clear,
So
it's
you're
just,
just saying that
it's-
in response to us. It doesn't mean anyone.
right, it does, I'm saying,
You're
it
not
was,
the actual facility.
I was asked to come to speak about that,
I just
and that was all I'm doing, and they said, is it a real deal, is it a plan, is it not? No, it's not. It's looking at what are the possibilities that we can explore and look into and bring it back to the community upon further investigation. But right now, looking at all the issues that have been brought to our attention by constituents as to safety particularly, public safety, looking up on the traffic incident surveys that are out there, what is out there. I know that we have accidents at Museum Drive, which is our only stop sign. It's an all-way stop, but that's where we have accidents, which is very interesting. And then I'm looking for more to document because I have to be able to have substantiate support going after funding to make a project such as this competitive. So it's identifying potential sources of funds and exploring it. Because I'm not going to come to the community and say, hey, I have this concept for a project that we should go with, but not be able to fund it. So I also have to look and explore as to what are the possibilities of funding sources.
We have a project that's funded and ready to be implemented, and your office wants to install it. So explain that one.
Population is very important for a cyclist when you ride, you know, and it's just tough. There are so many reasons that the Monument Way idea is not right.
There is no, but it's just a rumor.
It's
She
just,
says it's unsubstantiated.
But
It's not-
So what she has said is that there is no alternative to having done it.
I mean, she's talking about
so if the community doesn't support the concept at all,
What concept
it
are
was
you
just,
talking about?
I just threw out a concept.
Right.
Okay,
so
that's
it's
all I
just
say,
conjecture.
it's just a concept,
Yeah, it has
and
nothing
it's
to do with
exploratory.
We
It's
should
not,
maybe,
it's not real.
Let's stay with